Okay, I think we might get started. It's 7 o'clock. Hello. Hello, Di. Hello. How are we? That's okay. That's all right. I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the land that we meet on tonight is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. I'd also like to acknowledge any Aboriginal people that are with us this evening, either in person or watching via YouTube. So first of all, welcome everyone to our special council meeting. This is specifically around our budget process, and we are being asked some big decisions this evening. So we'll go through those one by one. First of all, roll call. I think we have an apology from Councillor Nathan Shanks. We have a leave of absence from Councillor Ian Tooley. I haven't heard from Jim Vallelonga. We'll put him as a non-attendance unless anyone else has heard from Councillor Vallelonga tonight. Everyone else is here. So welcome elected members, welcome staff. Public open forum, there isn't anyone in the gallery, and I haven't been advised of anyone who wishes to speak. Declarations of interest, councillors. I know there's a couple. Councillor Koch.
Yeah, I'll be declaring an actual conflict for item 5.2. A group I'm a treasurer of receives a discount from council, so I've done my paperwork and will leave the room when that item comes up.
I've also got an actual interest in 5.2. I am involved with the Gawler Care and Share Group, so I'll be leaving the room and Deputy Mayor will be taking the chair for that particular item. Now, Councillor Hughes, I think you have a declaration.
That's right. In 5.4 Part 9, the separate rate for the Landscape Board, as an employee of the Northern York Landscape Board, I'll be declaring an interest and leaving the room for that.
So what we might is we pull that out separately. If you can remind me when we get to that item, and then you can declare your interest accordingly. Thank you. Any other declarations of interest? No? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So moving right along. Now, I know we have some motions on notice, and I've asked Councillor Davies, he's going to pull some forward after 5.1 and 5.2, so we'll get through those two items and then we'll deal with the motions, and then we'll go through and deal with 5.3 and 5.4 accordingly. So now I'm on page 4 of our agenda, Gawler East Development Infrastructure Funding Policy update. You happy to move that way, Councillor Little? Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Goldstone. Mover, do you wish to speak at all? Seconder? Any discussion? If not, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you. That deals with that. Now, 5.2, I wish to declare an actual conflict because I'm involved with the Gawler Care and Share Group. I have filled out my form. I've asked Deputy Mayor Samble to take the chair, and then I'll return once this item is finished. And I think Councillor Koch, if you'd like to declare and describe how you will just turn it on, Paul.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep, I'm declaring an actual conflict with this item. I'm the treasurer of the Gawler RS, Royal Society for the Blind Auxiliary, and we get a discount for one of the rooms we have meetings, so I'm declaring an actual conflict, and I'll be leaving the room. Thank you.
And I'll be leaving the room as well. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll leave you to it. I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon? 1, 2, you've got 6. You'll have 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've just got.
Thank you, councillors. Now we'll move on to item 5.2, which is the fees and charges, and that listed in your diary there. And also a lot of work's been done to make sure that it's all in the other papers that we've had given to us. Now, the officer's recommendation that the council adopts the draft 21-22 fees and charges, acknowledging that the fees and charges presented having formed the basis of associated revenue budget preparations within the 21-22 budgets. Have we got somebody to so move that, please? Moved by Councillor Di Fraser, seconded by Councillor Little. Councillor Fraser, would you like to say anything at this particular point in time? Now, is there any other councillors that would like to mention anything at this particular time? Yes, CEO Henry.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify, I think the motion should be changed such that they're not draft fees and charges, but they are the fees and charges. If Paul Hall just can confirm.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yep. So if we just, Councillor Fraser, you're happy you've got all that, and Councillor Little, yeah? Take the draft out, yes, yeah. Yeah, Paul didn't want to do it all over again. So is there any councillors, any comments at this stage? If not, Councillor Fraser, I put the motion. All those in favour of the motion? Those against is carried unanimously. Thank you. And we'll bring the lady back in.
Hang on, Councillor Davies.
Yeah, I'm just moving that item 7.2 be brought forward.
7.2, do I have a seconder? Councillor Deputy Mayor Samble, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. It's on page 50. It's on page 56 of the agenda. So do you wish to present that motion?
Yep. So, yeah, I wasn't at the June.
Sorry, Councillor Davies, has everyone got, all right, is everyone on page 56 now? Just so we're clear, Councillor Kosh? Yes? Oh, sorry, you've now got the floor.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't at the June council meeting, but this was presented a report on audio potential upgrades and such. And yes, basically I agree that the full $80,000 or whatever for moving cameras and everything is beyond our scope at this time. But there was basically a small part of it that was just saying, look, the executive are, you know, passing around singing microphones, and it's not, you know, the guest speaker's chair is a different audio system than the councillors are using, and it sort of can affect audio quality of being able to hear the executive, you know, and just general setup and everything. So this is basically a small amount, just unify the process.
Are you happy to second? Do you wish to speak? Sorry, I just inadvertently turned you off. Can you turn yourself on again? There you go.
Yes, I'm happy to vote for this. It's a very small amount, and I do think it will improve things, especially me not being able to hear that well. I think it's going to help immensely.
Any other discussion? Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, I think it actually works okay with the roving mics as is, and I think $10,000 is a lot of money, so I'll actually be voting against it.
Any other discussion? If not, Councillor Davies, you happy for me to put the motion? I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against? It is carried. Thank you. Okay. Councillor Fraser?
Can I move to bring 7.1 forward?
7.1. Do I have a second of that? Deputy Mayor Samble. All those in favour? All those against? Hang on. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do these one by one. We have a number of motions, so yeah, we'll do them one by one. How do you want to proceed? Or you can choose. Well, I think we'll do them in order. Is there anyone who wishes to move motion 1? Yeah. You happy to move that way?
So,
Moved by Councillor Davies.
well, I'll move a version of, I believe this is the one where we got a response from Sam Delina about how this could be reduced. Am I looking at the correct one? We got an email about.
We've had some correspondence, but you're moving it. I'm not you're moving it. So if you wish to move it.
Yeah, and just clarifying that this was the one, since there's like 15 different things on there. But yeah, this was one, I believe, that that it could be reduced according to staff down to 30,000. Or no?
Okay.
Yeah,
look,
let me.
We had opportunity to have questions. I'm not going to. If you wish to move an alternative motion, please do so. And I'll get a seconder, and then I'll accept questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you've got an alternative motion, Councillor Davies, that you wish to move. Otherwise, we're not going to get through these motions tonight. We won't adopt the budget. Sorry? I beg your pardon? Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, well, what I need is clarification, but we can make the process go out and then I can ask the question after it's been moved. So I'm happy to move it so I can ask a question.
Okay. Yep. Okay. And a seconder? Lapse for want of a seconder. Okay. Second one, the East Side Estate Reserve, increase the bid amount by 270,000. Do I have a mover for that? No. I'll move on to the third one, Evanston Gardens Primary School, 100,000, move it to above the line. Do I have a mover for that? There's no mover for that. I'll move on to Seal Rural Road Intersection Apron Program, 115,000 above the line. Do I have a mover for that? You move that one?
I'll move that one only because I want to speak about it, really, that's all. I won't vote for it, but I have added up in the budget the amount of monies that we're spending on footpaths, curbs, reseal roads, resheeting, and new roads, patch and repair, cracks and sealed, and shared paths, and it comes to $2.291 million. So that's already in the budget. So I really think that we really can't afford to be doing any more and that's not accounting for stuff that's being brought over from the previous budget. So I actually think that we're giving it a fair go with what we've got already in the budget.
Do I have a seconder for this particular motion? You happy to second it? So there's a seconder and a mover. Any discussion? Councillor Goldstone.
Yeah, I'll be voting against it, but I'm disappointed that it was originally dropped out of the above the line and went below the line, because the Rural Apron program is an important program in the rural areas. So I'm hopeful that we'll have an opportunity to revisit this during the course of the next 12 months.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, I'll be voting against it and agree with Councillor Goldstone. It is important. I think we're going to struggle to deliver the 2.1 million reselling because bitumen works and everything else is just in such tight demand throughout the whole of South Australia. It's just incredible. Delays we're seeing with projects that we've already got in scope at the moment, trying to deliver. But yeah, I think that resealing the apron program is quite a good one. It's a good safety program and makes a lot of sense. But yeah, at this stage, we'd be voting against it.
Any other discussion? Councillor Koch?
Yeah, look, I'll be voting against it, but I do agree it's an important program. We've had reports on it before and it is a safety issue, and I hope that it may come back as a quarterly review, but I think with the fact that it's difficult getting bitumen work done now, I reckon we'll be struggling to get all the works done that we've already planned. So as long as it's not lost, it's an important program, but I don't think we're in a position to do it right now. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Deputy Mayor?
Yes, I'll certainly won't be supporting the motion here tonight, but as we've been told, the problem with getting asphalt, I think it's so very, very important that our media and that lets our general public know of this complete lack of supply, as there has been in the timber industry and all, and especially with our works program over there at in front of Mitre 10, that now won't be able to be sealed until October. Well, you know, and sadly, that's the way we're going. And so to have that sort of money put into there when our budget, as Councillor Fraser has said, we're spending 2.219 million on roadworks and that in and around our town. So it's good that Councillor Shanks put it up, but we just haven't got the dollar.
Any other discussion? If not, Councillor Fraser, you happy? I'm going to put that motion. Happy? I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against? Who's lost? Thank you. Now, I've just had some clarification, Councillor Davies, from Mr Delina in regard to the first motion. And Sam, can you provide that clarification, please?
The first motion related to bring above the line the regreening of open space in Copperfield reserves, on both sides of Trinity Drive.
Yep.
That budget remains at 180. That's
Yep.
correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the motion that's been lapsed on a seconder that brought on East Side, what was East Side Estate, Pala Mountain Drive. That was a $90,000 estimation through Councillor Shanks, which I've since clarified was only $30,000 worth of work. So that lapsed motion would be 210, not 270.
Yeah, okay, so I think that clarifies what your questions were. Didn't feel that I'd close the loop on that. So now we move down to move the following bids and reduce by 1% in the draft budget, improve roadside shoulders program, 173,250. Do we have a mover for this? No. Okay. So I'm moving down to the bottom of the page of 54. I'm at the last one there. The council moved the following bid below the line, which is the Gawler Caravan Park entrance works. Do I have a mover for that one? Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak at all? Maybe with you? No? No? Okay. Seconder? Lapse for want of a seconder. Now I'm going to turn over the page, keep moving. So now we have, I'm pretty sure that when Nathan put this up, he wanted it below the line because he had an argument about it, but it says above the line here. I don't think that's correct. I think it was actually below the line. I think that's right, isn't it, Sam? Yeah. Do I have a mover for this particular motion? It's already below the line, isn't it? Is it below the, it's already below the line, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. So I'm happy to leave that one because I think that's what Nathan wanted was below the line. So I think that's okay. The next one, construct new footpaths program, increase the bid to 300,000. Do I have a mover for that? No one's interested. I don't see anybody fidgeting, put their hand up, so we'll keep moving. Now we have boundary reform, 250,000 to move below the line. Do I have any interested party to move that motion? No? Okay. And now I'm moving down to that council move the following bid below below the line, digital marketing officer. Do I have a mover for that? Okay, no, nobody seems interested. Okay. So now we're moving to internal audit risk management. That council move the following bid below the line. Do I have anyone wishing to move that way? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
May I ask a question? And the question is, as in Nathan's notice of motion here, in other words, that wasn't accepted to do with the digital marketing officer. So does that actually, at the moment, stay above the line?
That's correct. Yes. So I'm
So
on.
same with the next one.
Well, the next one I'm asking if anyone wants to move it. We haven't got that far yet. So I am asking in regard to the internal audit, is there anyone wishing to move that way as it states in this motion? No? Okay.
Yep, I'll move that.
You move that way?
Yep.
Deputy Mayor? So I'm talking about the internal audit and risk management, that it gets moved below the line. You happy to move that way? Just checking. Yep.
Below the line.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? It lapses because of a seconder. And then now I've got down the bottom here, I'm on the last part of page 55, just so everyone knows. Marketing and design company engagement, 60,000, to move that bid above the line. Do I have anyone wishing to move that way? No. Okay, I won't be pursuing that. That concludes the motions on notice. Mr. Horwood, have you calculated that? Can you just provide me with a quick update in regard to the motions and the effect that it will have for when we come to the next matter, which is our budget? If you could provide some commentary and just advise the elected members where we're at.
Yes, certainly through you, Mayor. The only impact is relative to Councillor Davies' motion regarding the purchase of additional conference microphones. That would have the financial impact of 10,000, as indicated in the motion, which would increase our capital expenditure by that amount. And so the only impact financially would be on capital and no impact on the operating budget.
So 10,000. So just on the officers recommend, I don't think it changes that at all, does it? Just if we can move up, Chris, sorry. If we can just scroll up. No, sorry, down. It's my up, you're down.
Up, down.
So to the next item. No, I want to go to 5.3 and just leave that there. So it doesn't change anything. Is there anything we need to change in that recommendation? That's, I guess, my key question.
Yes. Yeah, through you, Mayor. I think the logical one to change there would be number 2, pursuant to section 123, that the council adopts the 21-22 budget as amended, rather than as presented.
Okay, so thank you. Right. So now we're going to move on to, just get my bits and pieces together. Now, I'm on page 9 of the agenda. Adoption of 2021-22 budget and long-term finance. You happy to move that way, sure. Deputy Mayor? Do you wish to speak at all?
Yes, thank you. There's been a tremendous lot of work put into this, and taking into consideration of all the problems that lay out there in the world and in our community, I believe that this council has done a tremendous job in, well, first of all, keeping the staff that we have on. The staff have been asked to step up, and they have, under the leadership of our CEO, and especially the finance team, because, you know, like I still see some have got hair. I don't know how they keep it because, you know, the way the team has put this together, and, you know, even myself, that's not very financial managed person, reading it, I clearly understand it, that this is the best way we can go to move forward into the next 12 months. And so I asked councillors to support this motion.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fraser, do you wish to speak at all?
Yes, I do. I agree with Deputy Mayor, but I actually have a question. In the budget, it says that funding for the mural is below the line, but we're actually working, there's $50,000 that was put below the line. So where's the money coming from that we're actually working on?
I think that's a separate pot of money. Mr Horwood?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mayor. Look, if I could just get clarification from Councillor Fraser.
Which page are you referring to?
Local Arts Initiative on page 114 of the spreadsheets.
Sorry, through you, Mayor, in terms of the actual budget document.
On 114 of 121.
114 of 121.
Erin?
Yeah, so through the Mayor, so Councillor Fraser, if you talk about the murals that we're currently out on Facebook talking about that are very topical at the moment, that was from the stimulus money. Now that was last financial year. However, we haven't carried that amount over. So
That's all right.
the other money has gone below the line, but we've still got funding to complete that project.
That's all right. Thank you.
Councillor Kosh?
Yeah, I'm on page 115 of 121.
Yep.
And it's to do with the new staffing positions.
Yep.
There's one here which is the governance trainee, and then a CAT management officer.
Yeah, they're quite new.
Are they new? And there's no allocation of funds against those. They just popped up.
Can we have some clarification on what's going on there? Who's going to answer that, CEO? 115 of the attachments, Ryan. So governance trainee and implementation of CAT bylaw, CAT management officer. And now I've not noticed that before. That's something that's new. You are going to answer that,
Yeah,
CEO?
if I could. These are positions that the management team presented early on in the budget process, but are not envisaged to be filled, not budgeted for.
So why are they in the budget if they're not budgeted for?
I'll get Mr. Hall to respond. They're below the line effectively.
They're above the line.
Through you, Mayor Karen. Yes, those two rows there that Councillor Kosh is referring to are definitely below the line, acknowledging they're showing here above the line, but they shouldn't, those two rows shouldn't actually be appearing on that page. So you can essentially,
Okay.
yeah, so apologies,
I
apologies for the
think
confusion.
that clarifies that. Okay. All right. Now, any other questions? If not, Deputy Mayor, you happy for me to put the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Well done, elected members. We've got a unanimously carried budget. I'd like to thank staff for all your hard work. It's been quite a big budget. It's been quite a robust budget process. It's an outstanding outcome. Still lots of work to be done, certainly over the next few years, but congratulations, elected members, including the elected members that aren't here that have been heavily engaged in this process, providing a very robust engagement process, and I think a really strong outcome. So well done, everyone. So now we'll move on to, we have to set our rates. Once we set the budget, we need to set the rates. And I'll just go, you can't do it the other way around because it doesn't work, does it, Mr. Horwood? Now, what we might do is, for your benefit, Councillor Hughes, I think we will, Mr Horwood, I'm thinking of just taking out number 9 and do that separately. Are you okay with that? So what I might do is we'll deal with number 9 first. So Councillor Hughes, do you want to declare your interest and tell us how you will deal with that conflict?
Thank you. So yeah, 5.4 part 9, separate rate dealing with the landscape boards. As an employee of the Northern York Landscape Board, I believe I've got a conflict of interest in this matter, so I'll be dealing with the matter by leaving the room. Thanks.
So we'll allow Councillor Hughes to leave the room, and then we will deal with 9. And as a two-step process, I'll ask somebody to move that we deal with number 9, 5.4.9. Chris, we'll deal with that first. So we'll use that. That'll be a motion. Can I have a seconder that will deal with that first? Seconded by Councillor Koch. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So Councillor Goldstone moved and Councillor Koch seconded that we deal with part 9 first as a separate matter. That part 9 be dealt with as a separate matter. So that's 5.4.9. That part 9 of 5.4. I think that's better, isn't it? Okay, I'll put that motion and it's carried. Did we vote on that? We have. Okay, carried unanimously. So now we'll deal with part 9, which is separate rate for state government regional landscapes levy. You happy to move that way, Councillor Goldstone? Do I have a seconder, Councillor Little? Any discussion? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Karen. Regarding this this section and this separate rate and all that sort of stuff, I'm wondering if it's possible for yourself or Mr. Horwood to explain just exactly what the situation is. You know, like at the present moment, we know that the beautification of the river around there is a combination of council and of the Natural Resources Group as well. You know, like basically we do work together a fair bit, and I wonder if Mr. Horwood maybe could explain how that works, that particular section 9.
So I'll start off.
Yep.
It is a requirement under legislation that we collect this separate rate on behalf of the state government, and it goes direct to state government. We get a portion of that back. We don't get 368,796 goes into a pot. We're part of the Northern Landscapes Board, which takes in quite a large area from Gawler up and including the York Peninsula, I believe. It's quite an extensive area. Of course, you've got Green Adelaide, which is a separate board. They're getting a lot of press at the moment, and it's based on a cent in the dollar based upon the capital value of rateable land. So we have no choice, we have to collect this. It's a bit like the solid waste levy. It goes, we collect it, it goes direct to state government. I think it was a couple of years ago, $190 million off the bottom line of the state government's budget, which is a really nice little earner for them. Not a lot of that comes back into waste management. However, in recent years, we've got a little bit more. It is an important levy. Having said that, as you rightly identified, Deputy Mayor, we have 3 rivers going through our town, and they regularly flood. They're natural riverine. I think there's some work going on at 14th Street at the moment, pulling out pepper trees. Got a little bit of press around that, I think, through the Bunyip. Thank you, Brendan. And it is, I've responded to quite a number of calls, and I think once you explain that there'll be greater diversity, around that area. Most people are pretty happy with that, and they want to see more wildlife. They want to see more birds, lizards, even some snakes, high-level predators, as you say, Councillor Koch. Yes, no one really wants to see a snake, but it's good for the environment, isn't it? So I think it's an important levy. I'd like to see a little bit more come back into our coffers. Mr. Horwood, do you want to add anything?
Through your worship, you've explained it very well.
Thank you. Yes. So it's an interesting one, isn't it, Deputy Mayor, that we collect these levies on behalf of state government. We have no choice. We have to. It certainly comes up regularly. I went to a GAROC meeting on Monday and it came up again. There's a board member on Green Adelaide in Mayor Claire Bowen from Port Adelaide Enfield. She's on Green Adelaide. Yeah, it's an interesting space. I think we need that money, don't we? I don't think there's enough that goes in there, but how much do we get back? And sometimes I'd like to see a little bit more. I don't know about you. Yes, absolutely.
It's just that, you know, one of the things that I'll notice, and you've only got to drive down the new roadway, don't go over 50 though, and see the artichokes. And I think we all know, I mean, some people say, yeah, they're beautiful to eat and all that sort of thing, but they give you a lot of wind. But basically, there's a lot of weeds around town. And I mean, you know, you really hurt me when you said the pepper trees have been removed. They are the greenest and freshest trees that you'll ever see out in the bush. But, I just wonder, you know, we must try to get some of that money back that we can actually do and keep those weeds and problems out around our riverinas and also around our roadways, because if anybody's been down that road and had looked lately, the artichokes are the best they've ever bloomed down through there.
I'll be
And they're
walking
not
there
supposed
tomorrow
to be
morning.
there. Sorry?
I'll be walking there tomorrow morning,
Yes,
second
I
time
know,
this week.
yes,
And
yes.
Thursday as well.
Thanks for
And you know what? People actually are travelling 100 k's an hour. I'm about to let the police know.
Thank you for answering that anyway.
Any other discussion? If not, Councillor Goldstone, you happy for me to put that motion? All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. If we can ask Councillor Hughes if you'd like to come back in. Thank you. So Chris, if you take out 0.9 out of the, thank you. So Councillor Hughes, we've dealt with item 9 and now we're dealing with 5.4, which is on page 38. And in the recommendation that's up on the board, Councillor Hughes, we've taken 0.9 out. Okay. Okay, so now we have declarations of 21-22 rates and service charges. How do you wish to proceed, elected members? You happy to move that way, Councillor Goldstone? Do you wish to? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fraser, do you wish to speak at all? Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you. So it was Councillor Goldstone and Councillor Fraser seconded. So now I'll just go back to our agenda. We've completed the motion. Are there any questions without notice? Councillor Fraser.
Yes, I have a couple. The first one is, these are to do with the budget, but they're below the line, so they're not there anymore. The Lyndoch Road beautification thing. Is there any way, if it was to be brought up again, that it could be redone and only done from Sunnydale Avenue to Cheek Avenue, rather than all the way down? It would be a whole lot cheaper, and you don't have to dig up trees that are already there. And I just think that would be more acceptable probably for the community as well, because it would be a much better price than doing the whole lot all the way down Lyndoch Road. So
I think that might sit with you, Mr. Delena. Do you want to take that on notice? Take that on notice? We'll take that on notice. I think it's a really good question. You had a subsequent?
And the next one is Councillor Tooley put a motion up about a multi-level car park for the Gawler Central Railway Station. I don't actually think this is a council thing. I think it's something that the government should do. But is there any way we can have constructive talks with them? Because with the new development coming at Roseworthy, St Ives, and the growing Gawler community, the car parking for the railway station is just going to be astronomical. So basically Gawler is going to become a car park for all the out-of-town people, and we're going to lose car parks when really it's a government concern. I really think there is a car park there. There's no reason why they couldn't go down or up with it. And I just think it's something that we should have constructive talks with them on.
So I think that's your department as well, Mr. Delina. Are you happy to take that on notice and provide a response? Any other questions without notice? I've got a couple of questions in regarding to LED mobile trailers. There's 2 advertising matrix solar in the, what I call the old Caltex site near Lock and Key on Main North Road, opposite Barker Real Estate. They've been sitting inside that property for quite some time advertising. What are the rules around these mobile advertising signs? Take that on notice, Mr. Viney. Yeah, I've had a number of people raise that with me. If that can be responded to, I think that would, and particularly around the ones that are actually there and currently being used. It looks rather unofficial, doesn't look like they've got any approval. I don't know if they're legal or not, but if you can provide a response, that would be good. Any other questions without notice? There be none. Motions without notice? There be none. I'll close the meeting at 7:42. Thank you, everyone.